When we were starting OFI, we had a sort of a workshop of brainstorming with a bunch of people saying, what should we work on as a new research centre? And I had never worked on international data before in my life, and nor really on survey design. But what came up was that to adequately capture, in a sense, what had come up out of the Voices of the Poor, or my own work with participatory work, where knowledge, relationships, these were very fundamentally important to people, meaningfulness. We didn't have data. And so either we are always going to be constrained by data and never going to be able to look at these things, or we actually have to systematically change the data collection mechanisms. So what we did was we looked at what we called 5 missing dimensions, which were aspects that were very important to poor people in many participatory studies, but tended to be systematically excluded from the standard multi-topic household surveys whose data are available to people for free, and that are standardly used to look at poverty. And one of these was violence. One of these was shame, humiliation, and social isolation. One of these was disempowerment, not being able to act as an agent, not being able to act out of your values. Another was informal work and safety at work. So many of the poor are precariously employed and in very dangerous occupations. And the last was subjective well-being, which is not just happiness, but it's also meaningfulness and this, a sense of autonomy, competence, relatedness. We didn't think this was necessarily a dimension of poverty, but we thought that there was enough interest in happiness and subjective well-being to explore other ways of measuring it that might, in a sense, tap into a deeper reservoir of people's orientation to life than just momentary indicators that were too subject to the frame of reference or to the mood of the person when they answered the question. So those are the 5 missing dimensions. And with, they were students at the time, we developed modules for each of the 5. We implemented it in different countries, and actually in the next month we'll release a report for the Chad, which have missing dimensions. We've also done so for Chile. And our hope was very much to take these forward. But I think our cross at OFI is finance. We don't have money. To this day we don't have money. And certainly the missing dimensions was not able to be funded. So we failed to raise money to continue it. But the ideas continue to inspire me and others on the team very much so, because I think they're of an ongoing importance. And now we look with the data revolution, with the Sustainable Development Goals, and we see that these topics are still missed out very largely. Informal work actually is getting much better. The empowerment questions are not. Shame, humiliation, isolation. Maybe there's a belongingness question in a number of places, so that's good. That's progress. Violence is still not prominent, and that's in a sense the easiest one, because it's not a lot amount of time. The module is maybe 3 minutes, 8 minutes for people who have an incidence of violence against person or property. So it's not expensive, and yet it's missing. So we do hope that somehow this work will carry forward, but we don't have the resources to do so ourselves.